Good evening. Our show covers sensitive material, so viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to the H2G Podcast.
Hey, folks. Welcome to the H2G Podcast. Christy, Justo in the house. Remember, the 5th of November, V for Vendetta. What a great fucking movie. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff today. Is there a baby? It's a baby. It's a baby joining the show. What's up, Lucas?
Say hi. Say hi. He learned how to say hi.
Hi. Yes. Lucas, tell us the best part about your week.
What was the best part of your week?
Halloween last week. Was that good?
Yep, he was dressed up as Batman, and I was Catwoman.
I got one.
Nice. What was Matt dressed up as?
Nothing. He stayed home sick.
Oh, Matthew, what are you thinking?
He dressed up like herpes.
Well, today is pretty much open forum day. I'm going to just move on past those herpes. So we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We had Lucas tell us about the best part of his week, but I want to know, Christy, what was the best part of your week?
So I have not been on the podcast for a bit because I've been having some medical and mental and all sorts of issues. But I found out that the thing we thought was wrong is not cancer. Not sure what it is. Not cancer, though. So that's good, right? Best part of my week, I guess. That was super boring. Oh, my God. My best part of my week. I mean, I'm enough cancer for the world, so at least I don't have cancer. She
doesn't have cancer, but Matt has chlamydia. All right, or herpes, or whatever it was. What did he dress up as?
Probably chlamydia, too. He
That's
looks like genital warts.
Yes.
So tasty.
Could you be pregnant?
No.
I like the silence. Moving on. Justo, what is the best part of your week? And please tell me it's not doctor related and you don't have cancer or prostate something or whatever.
Much to my mother's chagrin, I do not go to the doctor, so I wouldn't even know. But Christy, I'm glad it's not cancer. And hopefully it's also not chlamydia. The last week of Moxley Manor wrapped up, or is wrapping up as we're recording, breaking the fourth wall a little. And it was bittersweet. Haunting is like, that's actually related to the topic I brought today. It's super straining, obviously, on the voice, on your mental capacity. And when you're working at a bigger time haunt, you sometimes have to work during the week, which is kind of where I'm at. But the best part of my week is actually bringing that to completion, just because I was able to maintain that at my job, and I did really well. I got some cool reviews and pictures and definitely made some friends. So that's the best part of my week. And that motorcycle is a dick.
It's okay. He didn't know. I did want to tell you, since last week was Halloween, there is a movie that is Halloween themed that is on Amazon Prime. Something by the name of like The Curse of Briarstone or something like that. Can you give me some more? Can you give me a little bit more detail? How much is that? Isn't it like 10 to buy? You can't even rent it.
Right. So I retract. My best part of the week was the movie I was in, Curse of Briarstone by Captain Studios. Came out on Amazon on Wednesday, the 26th. I don't remember seeing a rental option on there. You're right, but there is. You can buy it like the standard definition version for $7.99, and then I think it's $9.99 for full HD. It's incredible. Matt Urban is just a beast. Seeing it on my own TV at home was just as cool as seeing it at the movie theater back when we covered it. So my girlfriend was in town for that. She came and worked the haunt and did her first ever haunted house by walking through Moxley Manor, which I'm like, well, that's starting at the top of the hill. So that's good. And then we went home and we watched Curse of Briarstone. and I cringed while she enjoyed. So.
Yes, awesome. It is out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you have Amazon, make sure that you watch The Curse of Briarstone by Capiture One Studios. Great freaking movie. $10 if you want it in high def, $7.99 if you just want it in standard. Who does standard anymore? Who does it? I don't know.
I've got a 4K TV, so I feel like everything I get has to be in HD or I wasted my money on my television.
I feel like most pornos would do standard, to be completely honest. Nobody wants to see that shit in HD.
Pornos are HD. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think pornos are in 1080p, some kind of HD, something.
You get to see those bumps and stuff up close and personal.
You get to see that cellulite jiggling, that roast beef hanging. You get to see all of it.
I wonder if they've started to add that to like virtual reality, if they've started to, film it specifically for like the Oculus and things like that.
Oh, hey.
If not, you're welcome, whoever takes that and runs with
it. That's a horse of a different color right there. Anyway, moving on. The best part about my week was I actually had COVID. Not a lot of people know this, but I actually had COVID. I was MIA for about, I would say about 12 days. He sounds so sad. He's like, oh, poor Uncle Tony with the COVID. But I had to miss the last show about Casey Anthony. So the best part about my week is I'm feeling much better. And I can breathe, I can smell, and I can taste again. So those are all good things. Yay! And the family's doing well. I mean, that's the other most important thing is Carrie's doing well. Reese doing really good. That's the one I feared the most. And then Harper, she ran through that like she ran through a wall like the Juggernaut. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. That's how she ran through that shit. But anyway, we're going to talk about some things that just come to mind. Something that I wanted to talk to you all about was everything that's going on with Dave Chappelle and the closer that's on Netflix. He's getting a lot of cancer culture. I had to say cancer one more time. Cancel culture. From some people. Netflix is actually boycotting. Some of the workers for Netflix are boycotting Dave Chappelle. They want it off of Netflix. The owner and CEO of Netflix is not going to allow for that to happen. But oh wow, he's destructive. Hey buddy, what's going on back there? Anyway, moving on. I just kind of wanted to see how everyone felt about it before I give my little spiel. Justo, I know that you finally watched The Closer. Do you think that comedy is something where you can't joke around and we need to be a little bit more cautious about what we say because people are getting their feelings hurt nowadays?
So I actually did not get a chance to watch it yet. I was in the cards for yesterday, and like I said, I've been acting until the late hours. However, I did think about it, and I think it's very well timed. I'm going to give a short bit, and then I'd like for you to summarize what he said for me so that I can maybe react to that. But last week we did the Casey Anthony episode that came out. Would have come out on between Sunday and Monday due to the technical issues that we had. And we had comedian Tony Watson on the show. In our old format, we did a lot of goofy things, and this season we're spending a lot of time focusing on serious things. And so Tony Watson played his comedic character during the Casey Anthony episode, and that's probably not received very well. And I'm bringing this up because from a producer's aspect, that's what I asked to happen, right? I wanted to fill in a couple of spots for the Halloween special. I brought in a comedian, and he did his role, which is what Dave Chappelle has created for himself as well. And he talked about the things he talks about. Were they offensive? Yes. Did they play to our crowd? Probably not. but I'm not going to remove episode 5 from this season. And he did have a few valuable things to say about it that weren't comedic related. I think that we should remember that comedy, specifically stand-up comedy, was and has always been a form of reflection on real life. A lot of the times, the stand-up comics are parodizing their own life story, especially with like comics like Kevin Hart even has it in the title of some of his specials, right? Laugh at my pain. I'm a grown little man. Really look into a lot of his content. He's telling what for some people would be uncomfortable stories in a funny manner, but about his life to allow people to enjoy and relate to those follies. I've read a little bit about what Dave Chappelle said. Tony, I'm sure you'll fill me in completely and more accurately than what I have. But I know that while some people may be offended by what was said, he's still pandering to another audience that has got him to where he is in his career. This is without me knowing what he said, so obviously I don't have a gauge on whether what he said was morally right or wrong, but I do know that we all have the right to say how we feel, and you also have the right or ability to watch or not watch his specials. I mean, you really, and rather than canceling, let's go back to the old days and think about how it's done. I mean, if you don't like somebody, you just don't support them, you know, or you know, make a comedy routine yourself and attack him, you know, slander him, get in a battle with him. Maybe you'll get MGK lucky and go national with a beef with somebody. But like the canceling, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And again, I haven't heard exactly what he had to say. I just know that it offended, I think, specifically transgender people. And I, like you said, you know, Netflix people are like wanting to boycott their job. I don't know. It just, that's the part that is a little weird to me.
Well, before I get into actually what he was talking about, because the whole premise of this conversation with everyone on the H2G podcast is not so much what he said, it's about the cancel culture. And is comedy dying because we can't speak or have fun or do the jokes that we're supposed to do as comedians? I mean, you know, Richard Pryor made a living making fun of all kinds of people. George Carlin made a living making fun of all kinds of people. You know, I don't know of a comedian that doesn't pick at something specifically. The problem is Dave is targeting the LGBTQ community, and they're having a problem with that. But I'll tell you more about what he said a little bit later. Christy, you saw the special. Carrie saw the special. She actually didn't think the special was funny at all and thought that he was mostly trying to make amends with all of his jokes that he's done in the previous specials that he's had with Netflix. Because you have to remember, the closer is him wrapping everything up in a bow about all the other specials that he's done with Netflix. And that's where a lot of those jokes came from. Have you seen all the other specials besides the closer?
Now I'm like questioning if I actually watched the right one. I thought it was hilarious. And also, part of it did make me uncomfortable, but that's because a little part of me is like, oh shit, that's like to the core. Like, oh, it's fine if you're gay unless you need police, then you're totally white, right? That was in that one?
Yep, that's the right one.
Yeah, okay. Oh my God. I was like, oh shit, like it's so true. Like, oh, you can be like whatever you want to be until you need to be white because like blacks are like persecuted on their color. And it's just shit. I liked it. I thought it made me uncomfortable. And I think that's progress, people.
You know, and that's the thing that I wanted to kind of get to is You know why I like George Carlin? If you don't know who George Carlin is, it doesn't matter if he was white, if he was black, but he was a comedian. Okay. And the reason why I like George Carlin is because the way he wrote his jokes, it made you think outside the box. It made you go, whoa, what do you mean by that? Or wow, I never even thought of it like that before. Dave Chappelle is by far a comedic genius with the way he tells jokes, the way he writes jokes. He makes fun of every single person. Patrice O'Neal is by far one of my favorite specials, The White Elephant in a Room, and he hits everything from blacks to Hispanics to women to sexual harassment. Some of that stuff is uncomfortable to listen to, but it's real life. It's what we go through day to day, and they say things in a way that makes you go, wow, like I can't believe he just said that, but it also makes you think, well, shit. That's really what we're living in. Justin, to get off of what you were saying, so he had a lot of jokes. The biggest thing that they are getting him for is defending J.K. Rowling, saying that gender is a fact, not saying that, transgender people aren't real people and that they're not going through certain things. He was just saying that every single person that was in the audience had to go through the womb of a woman, and that means gender is a fact. They didn't like that joke at all. So that was one of the things that he said. He's always said that I've never, and this is a quote from Dave, I have never had a problem with transgender people. If you listen to what I'm saying, clearly my problem has always been with white people. And that's going off of what Christy was talking about how you don't play the card until it benefits you. And listen, I'm black, mixed, mulatto, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I can tell you that for me, I know black people that use the black card well too many times, and what I mean by that is, everything's good and dandy until, somebody says something and then you want to say, well, why do they put me in the corner? Great story, real quick. I was a host at Cracker Barrel, and we had called a family of 4 up to sit down at a table that was directly behind the host podium. If you've ever been at Cracker Barrel, it's like that one table that's in the corner right around from the podium. And it was a black family. I waited till another table came open, sat them somewhere else, and then called another family up and put them there because they were Caucasian and I knew that they weren't going to bitch about it. The host that was on duty looked at me and said, you realize that you're basically being selective of where you put people, and that's kind of racist. Now, whether that's true or not to that perspective, I knew that if I would have sat them there, they would have thought, why am I sitting here? And not really thinking it's just a table. It's a table where you're going to get food. You want to know, why am I being put in the corner? Because of something that happened 50, 60 something years ago, where people were put in specific spots, and all you can think about is, that's the reason. This whole cancel culture thing, it pisses me off because Dave Chappelle, the way he writes his jokes, the way he tells things, it's supposed to put you in a position to think, what am I doing and how can I do it different, so that way we don't have to live in the circumstances that we live in. That's just my takeaway from it. I have no problem with what he said. I'm not taking it as he hates or dislikes certain people. He's just telling jokes the way he feels about certain situations and real life stuff. He talked about R. Kelly. He talked about OJ. He talked about Michael Jackson. He talked about a whole bunch of things. Jesse Schmoozé. He talked about a whole plethora of other things that everyone is going to be okay with. But because it's the LGBTQ community, now it's a problem. That, to me, is effed up. Justin, I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to say about this special, or we can move on to the next topic. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. It just really pisses me off because I have so much respect for what comedians do, for them to be ridiculed for thinking outside the box, right? Art is art, right? So just because you don't like Picasso doesn't mean that Picasso is a shitty artist, okay? It's about perspective. It's objective. It's whatever you make it, right? So Dave Chappelle is making art, and if you don't like it, don't like it. Don't support it. That's fine. But don't try to ruin someone's life and their career just because they've been doing something that they've been doing since they've been 14 years of age, and no one's ever said anything until 2021 because of the society that we live in, where you've got to be careful with what you say. Oh, got to cancel Aunt Jemima, puppy paws, all different kinds of stuff just because it shows violence and all this other stuff. Get the fuck out of here with all that bullshit.
Yeah, I apologize. I inadvertently dodged the question in the beginning, but I did want to say that just because I felt like it sort of relates directly to us and last week. You know, Tony, I was lucky to be on his show as a guest again, and he even said on his show, you know, they should have known better to bring me in to talk about something as serious as Casey Anthony. And you know, that kind of rang a bell with me. As far as cancel culture goes in general, I think that it's making a parody of the changes that we have been trying to seek in society for years. You know, how about instead of trying to cancel Dave Chappelle over a special that said some things, I mean, we could play some old comedy that would offend everybody. We could play some old music that would offend everybody. And it was extremely successful. And canceling that or deleting that or changing the lyrics and deleting all evidence of the original Baby It's Cold Outside, that's not going to fix anything going forward. It's just, it's focusing on the wrong shit. What it is, to bring out the conspiracy theory hat, is more, if you look back into our social media discussion, this is what I'm talking about. This is the media allowing us to divide ourselves as a country and distract ourselves from the things that we need to do. I mean, we jumped leaps and bounds in 2020 for racial equality, and it's been shadowed. If you look back to season 1 of H2G, or Just Those Best, however you want to look at it, episode 6, we said the reason we were so upset is we know that this is happening again, not because it's happening, but because it's happening again. And I'm sure several of us, if not all of us, said within a year, this will be swept under the rug over some bullshit. And then it'll be until another innocent life is taken that we even talk about it. And that's what I think cancel culture is. I think it's another media attempt to focus everybody on shit that they can argue about on Facebook, be at ends with family over stupid political nonsense that you can't change unless you go and fucking do your research and vote the right people in office. So it pisses me off too, Tony. Even when something is against what I believe, like I don't necessarily see things exactly the way Dave Chappelle does on all topics, but I do understand what he was saying. I don't think he was wrong at all. So, and most importantly, I don't think he was out of line to be talking about it, because he's a stand-up comedian, and that's what the fuck they do. They make jokes about the shit that hurts them, and you can choose to watch it or you can choose not. Either way, he's gonna go to sleep on a bed made of millions of dollars. So
true that. Christy, anything to wrap up before we move on?
Blazing Saddles. That should be canceled, but I fucking love that movie. It's amazing. It's too super bad, but it's also super fucking funny. Gene Wilder, Mel Brooks, the black guy, you know. Oh no, am I going to be canceled, guys? Ah! All right. Moving on.
Moving on. We're going to talk now about Blazing Saddles. No, I'm just joking.
No, really? Can we talk about Squid Game? Have you guys seen? I know Tony's seen it.
Yes, I have seen it.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Without spoiling it.
Oh, it's about quality.
Squid Game is it is really good. Do you want to give a backstory about Squid Game?
No, I'm going to say go watch it. It's about equality and death and equality.
You hear that, Jordan? I know you're watching. I'm tired of waiting for you. We got to get through the last season of you, and we got to get the Squid Games, or everyone's going to start spoiling stuff.
I need to watch you too.
It's going to happen.
It's
going to be... It's a definitely good show, Justo. I'm not going to spoil anything for you.
There should be a season 2. There should be. I really hope there's a season 2.
I mean, they set it up for season 2.
They did, but like they interviewed the producer or writer or whatever, and he's like, I'm going to need to bring in some people because this shit ain't going to write itself. Yeah.
I mean, there's also a story going around about LeBron James hating the ending of Squid Game, and then the director of Squid Game
Cancel him!
He said, did you see the ending of Space Jams too? Like, he was trying to throw some shade, but I don't even remember the ending or the movie Space Jams 2 because I didn't watch it, so I can't really comment on it. But I didn't miss much, so thank you very much. Christy, I know it's that time. It's November 5th. My question is it too early to put up Christmas stuff?
No, it's not. It's not too early. I just got a shipment from Target of my new Christmas stuff on the 3rd, which is 2 days ago. And I'm going to put it up this weekend. I'm so excited. Oh, yeah. Like my sister, Carrie, she wants to put her Christmas tree up. My sister, Bobby, was like, fuck you. If you do that, you hate Thanksgiving and food and all things that are good. And I'm like, I love everything.
We're not even, 5 days past Halloween? I guess technically we are 5 days past because we're in the 5th day. But seriously, you want to put Christmas decorations up already?
Yes, because it brings me joy. It brings me joy. Stop trying to shit on my parade.
Listen, before I cancel you, Christy, listen. Are you putting Thanksgiving decorations on your Christmas tree, or are you putting actual Christmas decorations on your Christmas tree? Because Thanksgiving has to happen first, young lady.
It does. And I've had my fall stuff out since like the beginning of August. So I've had my fall and my pumpkins and all that good shit. And
you're like the Cracker Barrel retail store. You're like the season before the season. Like they have Christmas stuff up in August. Like why? Why do you have Christmas stuff up? Justo, do you approve of this?
He does.
I mean, I know you.
He does. Previously, he said yes, Christmas all day, every day.
In December.
Stop it. Get out of here.
First of all,
you canceled.
Unpopular opinion. Cancel me if you must. I hate Thanksgiving. The whole idea of it, everything it represents. The fact that America has turned it into a tradition of getting fatter to celebrate the terrorism that we committed all those years ago. Fuck Thanksgiving. However, I am not going to put up Christmas lights or trees or any of that shit until December. I am going to slightly decorate my place, but I'm going on a 1-month excursion, half of which will be spent in Missouri, half of which will be spent in Ohio around December. So I'm excited for Christmas. Don't get me wrong. This is my first time being in a family situation, so I'm getting to enjoy and cry at the pricing and buying and searching and figuring out what they want. You guys will be happy to know that we just got her son hip to Harry Potter, so I'm like looking at all the cool Harry Potter stuff to buy because he's in the 3rd movie and 1st book. But I think you're jumping the gun a little bit, Christy. It's not time to put up Christmas stuff. However, don't use. What's up, Martin? I know.
Speaking of Harry Potter, the #1 fan has entered the game.
What's up, Marvin Scott?
What's up, guy?
I know Marvin will get my back.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing out there?
We're doing good. Hey, before we go to a quick commercial, tell us the best part about your week and welcome to the show really quick, boss.
Best part of my week? Well, seeing you guys so far. This week, Tony, I'm just getting my life back, man. My IG account was hacked, so I'm recovering. building a new page, starting fresh. So I'm things are looking up since a week ago or so when I got hacked. Other than that, man, I mean, just keeping on, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna throw another one, fast fire, really quick before we go. Is it okay to put Christmas decorations up before Thanksgiving, really quick?
No.
That's all we need to know, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching and listening to the H2G podcast. We will be right back. Make sure you click the likes. Make sure you do the comments. Make sure you do all that stuff. We'll be right back.
Don't try to cancel us, but fuck Thanksgiving.
Fuck.
Oh, man.
I'm going in, it's 1st and 10. I'm a legend boy, a champion. They can't match the flows, the X's and O's. I'm breaking the code, devastation about to unfold. They calling me Derek by the way I roll. Bet you never ever seen a pro this cold. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mix with Iron Mike and the great Ali. I'ma run it back, believe me, baby. I fathered the game, call me Daddy Brady. I'm like that, try be like this. Sammy Sosa, that boy don't miss. It's the return of the greatest. Any way you name it, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm bringing the pain and bringing the fire. Hey, stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
Welcome back to the H2G podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've got Justin Duvall in the house. Christina Winning had to step out for a second. She will be back. And the great Marvin Scott. While Christy's not here, Marvin, we did talk. Oh, Jesus Christ. No. Oh my gosh, she went and put on a sweater, and it's a Christmas sweater. It's the 5th of November, ladies and gentlemen, and she's got a Christmas sweater on. I don't even know what to say right now.
There's going to be like a canceled thing across my box.
I'll talk to the editor, see what he can do.
The editor is going to make that
out
happen.
Today.
There's going to be a scrolling from Thanksgiving at the bottom of the screen. Anyway, continue, Tony.
No, you're good. You're good. So, Marvin, really quick, we were just talking about the closer with Dave Chappelle before you got on. Have you seen it yet?
I have.
What do you think about it?
I thought it was extremely funny. I laughed. I thought it was no different than Dave's first stand-up. Dave just being who he is. He's being himself. He's being honest. He's being completely candid and transparent about how he feels. And I felt as if he touched on a lot of things regarding the LGBTQ community that was, you know, he touched on a lot of things that I thought was funny. I'm just going to be honest on this show today. A lot of things that I think about on a daily basis. And that's what comedy is being able to say what you feel on stage and able to, like, you know, clearly, like, tell jokes and tell people's thoughts in joke form. Like, the people that are sitting in that audience are living everyday lives thinking of stuff like this or thinking about things related to what he's saying. So when he was touching on certain subjects with the LGBTQ community, particularly transgenders, I felt as if, like, the controversy, certain individuals, YouTubians or whatever, were failing to look at the whole scope of all of his jokes. If you paid attention to the last joke, it was about a friend that had committed suicide that was transgender. Now, everything leading up to before this, Tony, I thought was fairly accurate. You know, when he was talking about 80s gays versus present gays. And I thought that was funny. And there were people that didn't think it was funny. And that's the controversy, I think, where we are as a society is, like, we pick and choose what we want to be sensitive to. And then we also pick and choose what we want to desensitize ourselves to. So I really think, like, the whole backlash that he got from the community was contradictory. Because if you really paid attention and really listened to the last joke, it was heartfelt. This man had emotions behind what he said and told it in a joke form. And the person that passed away, was a member of that community, a community over Twitter that egged her on to her own death, Tony. And y'all, I kind of thought it was a very heartfelt joke. You're laughing up to this point where you actually feel for him. He lost a friend. So I felt that all the people that were coming out saying cancel Dave Chappelle, get him off the air, Netflix needs to take him down, let's boycott Netflix, all this shit that I heard all week. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you folks really, for one, didn't listen to the jokes, and when you were watching the special, you pick and choose things out of it that you wanted to take things out of context so you could make a strong stance about it. And I really thought like it was wrong for these people to come after Dave. Think of how many comedians have been so offensive. Tony, Justin, Christy, Louis C.K. jacked off in front of women. Dave Chappelle's telling jokes, and y'all want him canceled? I didn't hear anyone come out and say they wanted to cancel Louis C.K. I never heard anyone come out and say they wanted to cancel George Carlin. I never heard anybody come out and say they want to cancel any comedians that's told jokes similar to this. So why does Dave have to be the one that has to be the face for getting canceled? So I think it's a deeper question that we as society have to even ask ourselves. What do we really want to get in? What do we really want to get rid of him for? When do we want to pick and choose when we want to be honest? So I honestly, I think that the special should stay, Tony. That's honestly how I felt about the closer. It's a record. It's a piece of historical artwork that's being left behind by one of the greatest comedians of all time. No different from a Richard Pryor or what's the other legend that got him started? You know what I'm talking about, Tony, with Sanford and Son.
Red Fox?
Help me out, man. Red Fox. No different from any of the legendary comedians, man. Like that's what the people.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You cut out there for a second, and we're not going to beat this horse to death, but this is why Dave Chappelle is the GOAT. Okay, we always talk about the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Dave Chappelle is the GOAT because he answers to no one but himself with his jokes and how he tells the jokes, okay? He doesn't care about image. He doesn't care about cancer culture. He doesn't care about any of those things. He even stated that Kevin Hart has even said this, he loves Dave Chappelle so much because Dave says it like it is and he doesn't care. Whereas other people have to tiptoe around certain situations. The whole point of comedy, ladies and gentlemen, is to bring things up that people don't want to talk about. Okay, it's to bring things to light to make you go, wow, what does that mean? I didn't realize that's the way that it was. George Carlin, and this is what I said, Marvin, and then I'm going to move on. George Carlin, before Dave Chappelle, to me, was another legend of telling it like it is. The difference between George Carlin and Dave Chappelle, and why George Carlin didn't get ridiculed the way that Dave Chappelle is because A, George Carlin didn't walk away from $50 million, and B, because the color of his skin. I'll say it. I'm okay with saying it. It is what it is, and that's fine. It was a different time. It was a different era. Richard Pryor was the same way. He said things the way that it was. He got ridiculed for saying those things. Now, George Carlin, I will get you. George Carlin did get a lot of backlash from the Catholics. He did get a lot of backlash from certain communities. So I'm not going to say that it was all clean just because he was Caucasian. I'm just saying there was no cancel culture in the 80s, in the 90s. It didn't happen. But anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Thanks for joining in. Thank you for that point of view. Justo, what did you bring to the table this week that you'd like to get some insight about, or at least talk about?
Oh, yeah. Well, first, I got to thank Marvin. Marvin, I love hearing you speak on things, man. Just always your perspective on everybody, but, Marvin in particular today got me. So this is a weird road to what I'm wanting to talk about, because we just ended Halloween season. We talked about earlier how I just got done working at a higher level haunted attraction where we see hundreds of people every night, up close and personal and vulnerable. Now, the reason I say this is a weird road, because this could be a comedic discussion related to people's fears. What are people afraid of, and the psychology of being afraid and things like that, based on some of the stuff that I've seen as a haunter. This stuff like a husband throwing a wife into a wall and then running out of the scene and leaving her there. Mothers taking off and leaving their kids behind. People tripping people and running all over each other and tearing down walls and pushing actors and hitting actors and things like that. But I don't want to have the comedic discussion because actually I've been telling something as a funny story since it happened, which was like 4 days ago. And the more and more I think about it, the more it pisses me off about society. And I think fear has such an oppressive presence in our day-to-day lives. I think it's why we see a lot of the racial inequality and social injustice that we see is because the government is pretty much mastered the ability of using fear as a tactic to divide and conquer, as well as mass media and social media, like we talked about before. But I've just been able to see how, when presented with fear, a person loses all of their normal faculties required to inhabit this life. The story is twice in one night. At first, the first case was a mom and her daughter. The daughter was probably 7 to 9 years old. Mom was late 30s. I've got a startle scare, pop scare if you're in the industry, where I present myself in an alarming manner. It almost hits everybody, but then I've got a taunting bit before they can get past me. The mom and daughter stood there petrified for a minute, and then the mom just took off running. At first, again, I thought it was funny. She left the little girl in the kitchen by herself, and the little girl's like, I'm sorry. Took off after her. I did follow to make sure they caught up, and the mom was waiting in the next room. Later that night, a family came in 2 groups and merged themselves into one. So like a family of like, I want to say 18, maybe less, maybe 15. It doesn't matter. They're coming through, and I can hear a little person throughout the whole first couple of scenes saying, I want out, screaming, I want out, all this stuff. We hit them. They're a great group. They all take off running, falling over each other. They go into the next 2 or 3 scenes. It's a busy night, so we have 2 or 3 more. And I realize my scene partner is missing, and he comes back, and he's got the 9-year-old girl that was with that family. They left her and did the rest of the haunt. Nobody came back. Nobody asked any questions, and of course I was like, wow, neglect in my head, and I made a joke out of that. And then I started to get mad at myself for making a joke out of that, because these people let a fictional fear, a character in makeup, myself, an actor with about 45 minutes worth of makeup on, lose their 9-year-old. In today's day and age, where kidnappings and sex trafficking and human trafficking is rampant, you left your 9-year-old in a public place with people you don't know because you were scared of a fictional situation that you paid to be scared. How did you not have faculty enough to realize, I mean, like we can joke about Home Alone and how did you not know that your 9-year-old daughter was not with you anymore inside this haunted house? Lights and screams and attractions aside, I know we got parents on the podcast and everything, but I just wanted to bring this because here lately I've been realizing how powerful fear is, even to something as trivial. Like, you will not see me, you might get me with a really good pop scare, super well timed, but you will not see me even usually react to most haunted attractions and things like that. I definitely wouldn't be leaving loved ones behind. Whoever thinks
I mean, without trying to be a comedian, right? Because what you stated to me is just absolutely laughable. Being a parent, being in fear of someone dressed up, or even not even dressed up, it dictates who you are as a person. I mean, what are you going to do in that instant when something happens? Are you going to rise up to the occasion, or are you going to scurry and run? And you saw from your story that obviously that child wasn't priority number one. They were okay with running and letting that bear get Marvin. Okay, so you got to stand for something, and character. When things happen, it tells you who you are as a person and as a character person. Reese had hit speaking about having kids and being a parent, Reese had hit a picture frame off the wall, and the picture frame is made of glass. And the glass hit him in the head. It came about, I don't know, maybe 3 feet from off the ceiling, hit him in the head and slit his head open. He had to get stitches. Now, love my wife to death, but she freaked. She didn't know what to do. And that's okay, because things happen. I'm not saying that she has a bad character flaw or anything like that. I'm just saying in that moment, I couldn't be weak. I couldn't divert. I couldn't go hide. I couldn't vomit. I couldn't, whatever would have happened in a normal situation, I had to stand my ground and say, okay, let's cover it up. Let's wrap it up. Let's stop the bleeding, and then we'll go to the hospital. He's fine. Everything's good. We got him some milk. Just calm. I'm not the calmest person in the world, but in certain situations, you have to rise to the occasion. And unfortunately for this lady, and was she with her husband as well, or somebody else?
It was the whole family.
Yeah. Just the whole family.
My uncles, aunts, and everybody took off running. And the little girl was like, I need to know where they're coming out at least. and maybe it was all good and fun, and I'm making it a big deal, but this is what the part that I don't make a big deal is. You're in a public setting, and if you take your eyes off of a child for just a split second, who knows who you just gave the opportunity to take that child, or for you to misplace that child, and it could be gone. See you later. Little girl, little boy, not there, and you don't even know what to do to get that child back. You have to remember, you brought it up, but child trafficking is serious. It's one of the number one things that happen in Ohio, and people don't even talk about it. They just push it under a rug, like we were talking earlier about things being pushed under a rug. You've got thousands of kids that are being shipped through truck trailers all the way down to Florida, and no one even knows where these kids are going. So I mean, to your point, was it in good fun? Who knows? Were they trying to teach the child something and they all had an eye on the child? We don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the shoes. I wasn't in the skin of the person that actually did it. All I know is I can't take my eyes off of a child for a split second, because I'm giving someone else an opportunity who is waiting for that window to be open to prey on a child, or to prey on a female to be taken. When we go on cruises and my wife and I, we get off the boat, I stay within
range of seeing the boat. I don't go all the way into Cozumel. I don't go all the way in, when we're out. Now, with family, I'll do that. I'm okay because we're with a whole bunch of people. But 5 guys, let's be honest. 1 guy jumped me. See you later, baby. You gone. Traffic. See you later. Alligator. This shit's real. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to be real and tell it like it is. But I stole the spotlight a little bit too long. If it was me, keep an eye on your children. You're at a haunted attraction. You know it is. Stand there and scream like the bitch you are. Don't move. They can't touch you. They can't hurt you. Hold on to your child so your child doesn't go anywhere. That's all I got to say about it.
I mean, my kid is 1. I've never experienced a kid that can literally run away from me, or I could run. I just couldn't. I mean, when I go shopping with him, I literally keep my hand on him at all times. So I know where he is. I won't hold on to my purse. I will hold on to my child. Is what it is, I guess. I'm the helicopter mom, so she clearly was not.
Marvin, is there something to the level, that's kind of where, just introspectively, my brain has been living about this, is the level of power that fear itself in any form. I mean, the bullshit that we see, even with cancel culture or the bullshit we see in the media, is far more fearsome than me in makeup. I mean, I know I'm an ugly guy, and I know my makeup artists are really good, but it's still fake.
No, not ugly guy, man. I would say you were a guy in a position where you were doing a job, you were in character, and you had to stop for a moment and get out of character because that reawoke something inside you. You went in a protective mode. And it's just like the conversation we had last week about the Casey Anthony case. Tony, I mentioned you and your daughter because I said that. I said, as good as we all know Tony on this panel, we know you wouldn't leave your daughter for more than 30 seconds, let alone report a missing child for 31 days. So I see how fear can drive people to new heights, that fight or flight mode. But in this situation, like Tony was saying earlier about trafficking, Christy, you saying, you hold on to your son's hand no matter where you go. I mean, that's just it. You never know what can happen to a child, let alone if you leave them for it, let alone a minute, 30 seconds, doesn't matter how long, but anything could happen. And especially in that kind of environment where it's dark. So yeah, man, scary situation. You really have to, keep an eye on your kids. You can't allow, an unexpected, just something, you can't allow something like that to deter you away from your parenting duties. Your obligation is to be a protector. So your kids have to be in front of you, and you can't allow something to happen where you break character, because Justin, you're doing a job, but they're a parent. That's shit they do. That's their job 24/7. So I can't see anybody breaking that. Things happen, but breaking that for a haunted house, nah.
And to Tony's point, AKA, or for one, just take it out of a haunted house and the human trafficking thing aside. If you and your kids are walking down the street and a Batman scenario happens, a couple of gangsters come out and they're ready to kill and do what they got to do to get the money, are you going to shove your kid down then and take off running? I know we made a joke about it, but a bear comes out of the woods and it's hungry and you're there with your family. Are you going to shove a family member? I mean, we talked about that, but no, are you seriously going to let fear overrun your life? Are you going to let a Facebook story hit the news, may or may not even be fucking real, definitely not relevant, but hit you in a certain way that you're scared enough that you stop hanging out with certain family members? I just can't believe how much fear. I mean, and I see it all the time in small doses working in the haunted house industry. I've seen a lot of husband and wives come through where the husband will oh shit, naturally shove the wife in front, and vice versa. And I guess, like I said, you can make some jokes there. And I always say something in character to make them talk about that on the way out of my seat. Like, oh, he's going to leave you with me. Ha! See, he doesn't love you. see what's going to happen when something real happens. But at the same time, this haunted house, we are a great group of people, and they do vet people that work here. We keep a family atmosphere. But almost any haunt that I've ever worked at, and I've been doing this since 2004, there's no background check. There's no felony test. There's no fucking fingerprinting that goes on when they just need people to work. Some of them don't even get paid. So you don't know who the fuck's in these scary halls. In Texas, in Houston, last weekend, a murderer got into a haunt and killed people. That's the situation you just dropped the kid off in because you were scared of a fictional character. Get your shit together. I mean, have fun, be scared, enjoy the pop scare, but like Tony said, if it got you, stand there, deal with it, double check. Like, I know where my exits are right now, and I'm outside. I mean, you should always know your surroundings. You should know what's around you. You should know who's around you. And especially, even more so, if you have kids, you should know who's around you and your kids. Marvin, did you have a topic that you wanted to talk about, man?
I had a topic, but I'm not going to take too much time away from Christy. I know you got a better topic than I do, but I just wanted to touch on what I just been going through recently, like with my whole account getting hacked. And I just wanted to, that's a perfect segue into what I've been practicing lately is self-development. I wanted to share that with y'all. It's stoicism. It's having power over your mind and not outside events, not allowing yourself to be, be shook by what's on the outside. Learning how to move on, learning how to, take things in stride and approach things with a clear mindset rather than just acting impulsively, and so I just wanted to ask, you guys on the panel, when unexpected events happen, when things go wrong, when things go, when the shit hits the fan, as they would say, how do you remain in a neutral state in order, to come up with a solution? And that's something that I've been working on. It's been helping me recently. Like I said, there's outside events that you can't control, and you can determine through stoicism your own reaction to a crisis. So I just wanted to ask, I know it was on me when I want to talk about a topic, but really I just want to know you guys and how you deal with unexpected events. Do you practice stoicism, or do you call it something else? That's for anybody who wants.
Go ahead. I've been leading all day, and I'll go last. I'm fine.
We can reverse order. All right. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that, Marvin. So one, also, I feel your pain. My Facebook got hacked. I got that all situated. Luckily, I didn't have to completely start over on Facebook. I don't even know what that would look like. We got the podcast tied up into that. Good God, man. And Instagram is linked to Facebook, so I can't imagine what you've been going through, dude. My TikTok got banned for something that wasn't even posted. If you didn't know, on TikTok, I've been working on posting monologues and insights to my acting career, because TikTok, if you're listening, I wanted that to show directors. I thought that'd be an easy way. Hey, here's my TikTok. There's loads of examples of characters that I can do. Just scroll through. None of them are longer than a minute. That's a great idea, right? Oh, well, then fuck that. I got to start over. And that's super frustrating. But how I stayed stoic through not just that, but just a lot of serious life changes that have been happening for me lately is exactly what you said, Marvin, personal development. A lot of people don't even realize what goes into that. It's not as hard as you think it is, and it's definitely not as easy as you think it is. I know that might make no sense to some people, but it is as easy as putting in the effort for yourself every day. There are thousands of qualified authors who have written fantastic books that will help you in one way or another. You can focus on your personal mental health. You can focus on your professional health, and where your mind is in regards to money or to work or the parenting, whatever it is that you would like to improve on. You can do that every single day. And just doing that, studies show that just doing that, a minimum of a half hour a day, will greatly improve your everything, your mental state. So I have had to force myself to do that. I've got a lot going on. I've got a lot of moving pieces in my life. My profession has some big decisions and choices and options coming for me forward. So instead of stressing out, which is something I've been known to do in the past, and going into that panic mode where you can really lose sight of, you'll lose everything if you panic. You got to calm down. You got to focus on yourself, set aside, schedule that time. I've been practicing unplugging like we talked about on the social media episode. I've been practicing a chapter a day, which there's like the 75 hard challenge and other challenges like that that recommend, a chapter a day of a book that you think can help you progress. But just spend enough time in the mirror to know who you are. I think is what I would lead off on.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that, man. I mean, that honestly, that's where you start. For real. It's just one little thing, because throughout all those things you do, I mean, you can allow some outside forces to kind of break that. What about you, Kristen?
So first off, had to Google stoic. That's a 5-letter word that I just clearly didn't know. If you're passionate about something, your emotions are going to get to you. It doesn't matter. You just deal with it how you deal with it. I got laid off for pandemic. Yeah, I fucking cried. I'm passionate about my job. I'm an okay person. And you know what? You're just going to get emotional and you deal. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, that's how everybody's different. So that's why I like to ask, because usually the people like that are the strongest, and that's how they just, they deal with something, and that's how they display their emotions. It's like a Band-Aid, rip it right off. And that's a good quality you guys have. I mean, especially your approach dealing with unexpected events. How about you, Tony?
Well, let me start off by saying, what a great topic. A lot of people in the society that we live in and in the world that we live in, they try to manipulate or control the chaos that happens around us, and you're going to fall short. Okay. You can't, because the only thing that you have control over is yourself. How you react, what you do, the way you consume it, the way you perceive it, the way that you take it in, digest it. You just have to make sure that, you're doing what's best for you. For me, I'm no different than anybody else that's on the panel. I'm no different than anybody that's out there in the world. I struggle on the daily basis all the time, just like we all struggle. The problem is you have people that are pretenders, and then you have people that are realists, and they know the situation and they know what they have to go through. I don't get a period. I don't have a menstrual cycle. But every year I have this yearly emotional breakdown where I try to navigate what's going on with me and how I feel about certain things. I'm unhappy with certain areas and I'm happy with certain areas. That's everybody that's living in the world today. The problem is we don't sit here and talk about it like we're doing right now on a podcast, or allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to actually have those kinds of conversations. Depression's real. Depression happens. A lot of people are depressed and they don't even know they're depressed. A lot of people are depressed and they don't want to talk about being depressed. So you have to find ways to better yourself. Here's the problem. I'll call myself out. I won't call anybody else out. I want success and to be happy so bad, but I don't want to take the stairs. I want to take the elevator. Anything in life, you have to be patient and you have to go out and get it. And you have to be diligent about it. And you have to be smart about it. Just take time, look up what stoic means, take time and make sure that you actually present life in a way that you want to live, that's not only bettering yourself, but also bettering the people that are around you. That's what I live for every single day. How am I going to be a better dad? How am I going to be a better husband? How am I going to be a better coworker? How am I going to be a better worker? How am I going to help this person at my job that's coming in for this service so that way they are put in a vehicle that is going to get them to the destination that they need to be at? As long as I check these check marks off, I'm completing how I feel and making myself feel better. If I could wake up and everything could be dark and black and I just don't want to do anything. But in reality, I have to think bigger than that. I'm not only living life for myself, I'm living life for the people that are in this roof with me. I'm living life for the people that I have to raise. And I'm also living life for the people that are on the podcast in my life. So you have to not be so selfish. And I hate to go all the way around, like that, but that's what Stoicism is to me. Stoic, the handbook of how to be a Stoic is a good book. George Lopez, also another author, wrote it. I'm actually reading that book along with the Odyssey that I'm reading. I just love everything that has to do with that type of history and the great thinkers and philosophers in the world and how they were able to navigate themselves through different situations. So thanks, Marvin, for bringing that up.
By the way, for those Googling out there, Stoic is spelled S-T-O-I-C.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate the honesty, Tony. That's really deep. That every time you guys speak, I learn something, and even you always have your own definition of perspective on, especially this topic, but seeing how you guys deal with things, I definitely, I take that into account, and it's something to learn from. And it starts with that. It starts with kind of being honest with yourself. And you're not the only one, Tony. I'm telling myself too. I've been there, going through the motions. You guys, trying to rip it off like a Band-Aid, like Christy. But sometimes it's hard. And sometimes you go through life, you don't know when you're depressed. You don't know when you're going. You don't take your time to smell the roses and realize that you work on yourself when you're going through something. And that's what being stoic is. You're human. You're a human being. It's okay to be human, but it's not allowing it to don't take the stairs. Take the stairs. Don't take the elevator.
Take the stairs. Don't wait for the elevator. Take the stairs. Get that shit taken care of.
Yes, it's a long road to self-recovery and self-development. Take the stairs. It's worth it.
With that, real quick, 10 seconds around the horn, last words. Christy, I'll let you start it off.
My husband said I was weird because I gave away chips instead of candy for Halloween. So stay weird, everybody.
Stay weird, everybody. Marvin, real quick, 10 seconds.
That's a very Christy thing to do. No, I wanna say it's great to see y'all. This is always the best part of my week, is seeing Justin, Tony, Christy. We miss Richie.
Lost you for a little bit. I don't know what happened there.
Conversation we had. I actually hit the mute button, but I hope y'all have a great week, and we'll see y'all next week.
All right. Thank you so much, good sir. Justin, real quick, 10 seconds.
That mute monster gets us every time. I'll waste my 10 seconds on plugs. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, audio podcasts, where all audio podcasts are found. Follow the Patreon. You're missing all the good behind the scenes, man. We don't have any patrons. We got all this cool behind the scenes, no patrons. Live, laugh, love like it's your last. We'll see you next week. Wednesday, Flyers, 8 p.m.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you, Justin, Christy, Marvin. Remember, fear is forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. You make the decision. And another thing, telling the truth and making someone cry is better than telling a lie to make someone laugh. Dave Chappelle doesn't lie. He does bring the punchlines. Thank you for what you do. I'm canceled. H2G Podcast. We'll see you next time.